Welcome to the HR Sources live chat. Today, we're going to get you ready for the SHRM 17 conference with our SHRM 17 conference preview. Joining me today is Senior Specialist in CHRO Engagement for SHRM's Executive Network and also the President of the DC chapter of the National Association for Asian American Professionals, Ryan Namada. Ryan, my man, how's it going today?
Good, thank you, Terry. Very generous introduction. It's going well. It's hot outside, but it's going well in here.
Well, no, I have to hook you up there, so that was no problem on my part. But thanks for joining us. I definitely appreciate your time today. Before we jump into the SHRM 17 conference details, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm one of the SHRM oldies, I think, because I have been here now a total of 11 years, and I have moved through several different positions. I've been very lucky, very fortunate with all the cool projects that I'm doing. Right now, I'm doing here at SHRM what's called CHRO Engagement, which is really just working with heads of HR from different companies all over the world and putting together programs specific to them and to their needs. And it's been a really cool project. I will kind of preview, who I'll be talking to at, who's part of my program at the SHRM 17 conference, for instance. And I'll just go ahead and tell you. So we have Laszlo Bock, who will be speaking at the general session. But I actually have Laszlo Bock in a much more specific program, for me, where folks can meet with him and chat with him a little bit more intimately. And as you guys know, Laszlo Bock is a former head of HR over at Google, and very much admired in the HR space. A lot of ink written about him. You can catch him on YouTube and everything. So that's one of the cool projects that I work on at SHRM. And of course, with my work with the National Association of Asian American Professionals, we do a lot of things to create leaders in the Asian Pacific Islander community, and that's where a lot of my HR background can come in really handy as well, in creating different programs to create those leaders.
Awesome. And we're going to touch on that a little bit more in a minute as far as your actual role and what you'll be doing at the SHRM conference. So folks who are going to make the trip can come by and see you in person and get some information from you. So, so actually, just to kind of start off, can you tell our viewers what the SHRM 17 conference is all about and why they should attend?
Sure. Well, I'll give you sort of the corporate speak for it. The SHRM annual conference is the largest HR conference in the world by far. I think the closest one is a solid 10,000 attendees behind. So we are I think we're expecting a little over 15,000 now, for this particular conference. And so that in and of itself, that number is a staggering number to consider, that you have that many HR professionals all in one area, all in one space, and that you have access to them. So for me, I think the reason why someone should attend, I would even say, HR people, I feel like definitely you should attend. It's the way you can connect with other HR folks. It's the way you benchmark yourself. And it's the way that you can also see, some of the best practices, some of the new cool things that people are doing in other organizations. And you're just not going to know sitting in your seat at work. Or even kind of Googling it online, you'll see some of that, but it's not until you see a person and meet a person and talk to them about the details about some of the cool projects that they're doing that you'll start to learn new sort of in quotations new tricks here in the HR industry. Additionally, I think what we see during the conference is that not just HR people go. The thing that HR people do is essentially help run the entire organization. So you will see a lot of folks in there who are chief operations officers, chief administrative officers, because they're trying to also learn about how to run the entire organization. Whereas, the other areas, marketing runs marketing, finance runs finance. Us HR people, hands in almost the entire organization, and I think that's the sort of the big reason why you go to this conference, because you need to learn a lot more about running the organization from your seat in HR.
Interesting. Now, just so folks know, the SHRM 17 conference, it's going to be all taking place June 18th through the 21st in New Orleans, Louisiana. A lot of cool stuff going on. And Ryan, you mentioned before that you'll have some presentations and a booth set up where you'll be speaking to conference attendees as well. What exactly are you going to be doing, and what kind of information are you going to be exchanging or sharing with the attendees?
Sure. Actually, you'll find in the middle of the conference floor, the middle booth is always the SHRM booth. And what it has is it has SHRM, the bigger SHRM, and then it has all its affiliates such as HR People and Strategy and SHRM Foundation, the Council for Global Immigration, CFGI, and and certification folks like that will be in that middle part of the floor. And there we give out all the information about what each part of SHRM does. And then you can meet all the really cool people that we have working here and working on those particular projects. So I will be there actually on Tuesday. I'll be there somewhat on Monday. I have a full program that I'm doing on Monday, but then I also will be there Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'm happy to speak with anyone who comes up there and has any questions for me.
Nice. And I'll be sure to point folks in your direction to come say hello and come pick your brain about some vital HR information as well. So
absolutely, we'll be hard to miss. We'll literally be in the middle of that floor.
There you have it. You cannot miss Ryan. Go check him out when you're in town. You'll be glad you did for sure. Now, can you talk about some of the pre-conference offerings, like the senior leadership education and other seminars and workshops that's going to be going on?
Yeah, I think that's a lot. Those are a lot of cool events that we do on Saturday, and I want to say I don't know if we have anything on Friday of this, for this year, but I know we have a lot of offerings on Saturday for some of the folks who get in a little bit early, and those are really neat because it's sort of a nice warm up to the bigger conference. Those sessions will tend to be smaller, a lot more intimate, and you can really talk to a lot of people in those particular events, like a lot of the senior leadership education stuff that we have. You'll be able to talk to in a room. You'll be in a room of maybe 30 to 40 people, which is a lot more manageable than when you get into the general sessions and you're in a room with 15,000 people. It's a lot more difficult. So I think those are really cool in that sense, that you can have a lot deeper connection with folks, attendees, on Saturday at the pre-conference stuff.
That sounds awesome. Now moving on to the main schedule, there's going to be a lot going on. There's going to be concurrent sessions, a master series, and a smart stage. Can you explain what each of those is and what's going to be going on at those sessions?
Sure, absolutely. So there's the general sessions, which we'll have all the, the really cool, well-known speakers that we have. We have Layla Ali, who I'm really looking forward to, on Sunday. I'm hoping she's nice enough that she'll let us take pictures with her. That would be really cool. I'm a big boxing fan, so
nice.
I'd love to meet her. So after the general sessions, we break out into concurrent sessions. Concurrent sessions are essentially, whereas the general sessions are sort of, a lot more, to inspire you, to energize you and motivate you. The concurrent sessions are really the practical stuff that, the stuff that you can take away and take to work immediately, the next week. So those concurrent sessions are very helpful in that way, very practical. The Master Series is really a host of different events that we have that are being led by very senior people, and they're not necessarily HR people. They're very senior in the business landscape. So we can have non-HR people in there to talk about their experience, in leadership and maybe something that they did that, that we think can apply to HR. So those are very cool, sessions that the Master Series has. And then of course, my personal favorite is the Smart Stage. So the Smart Stage, I can give you a little bit of a sort of an evolution about the Smart Stage, because I was there when, before it was called the Smart Stage. If you guys recall, if any of you have been coming to the conference for many, many years, the Smart Stage actually started out as the Hive. And that was several years ago. And the Hive was meant to showcase a lot of innovative, HR, techniques and projects that people were working on, all over the place. Slash, it was also where we showcased a lot of the technology that we're using at the conference, like the app, or any kind of web-based technology that we have that helps people. That's what the Hive started out doing, was helping with that, and that was a big part of the Hive when it first started. And then it eventually evolved into the Smart Stage. And then the Smart Stage, really the best way for me to describe it is that the format is very TED Talk style. So it is, no one is up there speaking for one full hour. They're up there speaking for just a few minutes, kind of in and out. They're going to give you a very important nugget, very important piece of information that you can digest very easily and right away. And and then you're off to the next speaker, and they just kind of roll over and over and over again. So it's really nice, very neat way to, if you wanted to sit down somewhere that's wide open. So you'll notice the space in there is wide open. It's in the middle of the floor. If you just want to relax from sitting in a big concurrent session that's closed off, and you wanted to just be outside and hear something much quicker than a 1 hour session, then I think that's that's the kind of the Smart Stage is the place that you'd want to be.
Nice. Now, is the reason why that's your favorite because you've seen the evolution from sort of the Hive to now it's the Smart Stage?
Exactly. I mean, obviously, no slight against all the other programs. I think they're wonderful. You should go to as many of them as possible. But as for me, it's my personal favorite because I have sort of a lot of sentimental connection to it in the sense that I really helped put it together and evolve it. And I'm not working it this year. This is the first time I'm not working it this year because I have a lot of conflicts. But I will definitely stop by when I can. I obviously know everybody who's working there. My buddy Ruhal Dooley, who has been the MC for the Smart Stage for a very long time. He's a comedian actually outside of what he does at SHRM. So he'll be hilarious. He'll be very engaging. And I'd like to think that a lot of the success of the Smart Stage, I had a little bit of something to do with it. So it's my personal favorite.
Just a little bit, right?
little bit.
That's cool. That's very cool. Very cool. And you sort of alluded to some of those other guests and keynote speakers before. Yeah. One of which, Big Star. I'm a huge boxing fan myself. So Layla Ali, that's going to be awesome. Who are some of the other keynote speakers that will be participating in the SHRM conference there? Yeah,
we have a lot of good ones. I confess I haven't memorized all of them, but I mentioned Laszlo Bock, who will be speaking on Monday morning. Laszlo is an incredible speaker. He has a lot of really great things to say about HR, and I think the conversation that he is going to have there is really going to be about the future of HR and what the future HR professional needs to look like and what they need to know so that they can be successful. And I think that's going to be a really great general session with Laszlo. If you guys want to YouTube him prior, a lot of the stuff that he talks about is very science-based, very evidence-based, and that's very different from what we normally hear. However, it's the trend. I think that HR is moving towards evidence-based HR, and I think that's a good thing for us, especially with how we want to be able to tackle some of the challenges in the future, of the profession.
Gotcha. Now, what will be some of the extra, I'll say, networking or special events that'll be taking place at the conference?
Yeah, that's always, to me, I put together small conferences, here and there, and I got to tell you, top 2 or top 3 concern that everyone has is helping them network. Sometimes I think it's just as easy as coming up to someone and talking to them, but I completely understand that in a conference with 15,000 people, a bunch of just sort of bodies, running around and everything, it's hard to pull someone off to the side and actually chat with them. So, with that, in that regard, what we've done is we've designed some events where people, are able to socialize. And I think that's a very key thing that you want to get out of this conference, is not not just you're sitting there and you're learning from, all the speakers that we have and all the lectures that you're hearing, but that also that you connect with the attendees who are there. Those lasting connections are ultimately what's going to help you in your career. And I think the more network you are, the greater your network is, the greater your ability to learn new things and also perhaps even find new opportunities. So we have on Sunday, I'm exaggerating, but it feels like 1 million receptions on Sunday that you have access to, and they're all over the place. And New Orleans, what a great place to socialize, right? It's built for socializing.
Very much so.
Yeah, very much so. Monday, same thing, a lot of small receptions. And I like to tell people that, feel free to jump around at different receptions. You don't have to stay there for the full 2.5 hours that they're programmed for. They'll tend to be at least a short, taxi ride or Uber ride, to each other. And it's totally worth it to jump around and meet new people. We have all these great receptions on Sunday and Monday, and then on Tuesday we have that. We have Harry Connick Jr.,
absolutely, yeah.
favorite son of New Orleans, who will be there, and that not as great of an opportunity to network there because again that you're in a dark room full of 15,000 people, so that's tough. So I definitely recommend that people take advantage of those small receptions on Sunday and Monday, to meet people. In addition to meeting people throughout the day, of course.
Very key information. Networking is going to be a major factor, I would say, throughout the entire event for folks who are interested in attending. So very, very crucial information. One more thing. How does, in your point of view, your expertise and your experience, as you said, you're a SHRM oldie, a SHRM veteran. How does this conference differ in your mind from conferences from years past? Yeah,
well, this is actually one of our biggest conferences ever. I think it's somewhere in the top 3 or 4 in terms of sheer size. But I think what I've seen over the years is, and I said it a little bit earlier, is the shift that HR is making into a lot more of a scientific, evidence-based kind of decision making in HR. So we don't, 10 years ago, I heard a lot of speakers at our conference say, well, when someone is likable, or when, if you have a good hunch about someone, it's usually right. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But what we're hearing now, 10 years later, a decade later, is that here's our analysis on our best performers, and here are some of the competencies and skills that they have, and this is what we want to duplicate. Not someone's hunch, not someone's feeling over someone, but we, a lot of HR people are now saying, we've mapped out what a good employee looks like, what a productive employee looks like, and here's what it is. And it may differ from one organization to the other, but we at least have can say we can map it out. Here's what we think those good characteristics, those good competencies and skills are, and we want to duplicate that. We want to recruit that person and that kind of person over and over again for this particular role. And I think that's one of the biggest changes that I've seen over the last 10 years with regards to how HR thinks. Also, there's a lot less conversation now about HR having a seat at the board. Certainly, we still have a long way to go. But 10 years ago, we were very, very much into finding a seat at the table. And I think 10 years later, not hearing as much noise about it tells me that perhaps a good number of HR leaders are now sitting in the boardrooms and sitting next to or near the CHRO and the CFOs and the CMOs.
Nice. Well, there you have it, SHRM 17 conference. It's going down June 18th through the 21st in Nolens, New Orleans, Louisiana. I'd like to thank my guest, Ryan Namada, for joining us. Ryan, why don't you tell folks where you can be reached?
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to give you my email. You can just go to ryan.namata, so ryan.namata at shrm.org. Feel free to email me, ask me any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Ryan. And again, Ryan will be there. When did you say you're getting in town, Ryan?
I'm getting in town on Saturday. Oh, by the way, I'm also on Twitter. So at Ryan Namata, if you have any questions while you're there. I plan to tweet pretty much every day. In fact, I'm told to tweet every day, so I have to. So, hit me up on Twitter.
Nice. Good deal, Ryan. And thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate your time. Very informative live chat. So all of our conference attendees should be raring and ready to go. And thank you. Thank you, the viewer, for joining us for today's edition of our HR Source live chat previewing the 2017 SHRM Conference. We'll be speaking to you again soon. All the folks going down, enjoy, have a great time, and make sure you go see my man, Ryan.